We got some NFL news, injury updates, and a potential trade rumor to discuss here on Verts. My name is Harrison Graham. If you want more NFL and college football content for free, we are the channel for you here on YouTube. Trying to get to 4,000 subs ASAP. We're just over 3,300. News, rumors, reaction, trade buzz, my instant reaction to primetime games in both the NFL and college football. Don't miss out. We got you covered on a daily basis. All right. Conflicting Russ reports, commentary going on out there in Pittsburgh as he is now healthy. He was a full participant at Steelers practice today. He practiced with the twos. Justin Fields remains with the ones. And two fairly prominent reporters out there have different thoughts, ideas about what his future looks like as the Steelers quarterback. Is he going to be their starter? Are they going to put him back into the lineup? Is Justin the starter? Could they move on from Russell Wilson? Well, Dan Graziano of ESPN says he doesn't think Russ will ever start for Pittsburgh. He thinks they'll stick with Justin Fields and that he could eventually get cut or traded because he is on a vet minimum deal. Now, he did make the note that Russ has a no-trade clause, which could throw a wrench into things. That could force Pittsburgh to cut him if they did want to move on from him. And why would they move on? Well, if Justin's their guy and if they don't want to have this kind of storyline out there anymore, then maybe they would just move on because he's on a vet minimum deal. Now, ideally, you'd like to trade him, get a pick back for him, but Russ could say, screw you, I got a no-trade clause, and which would force them to cut him, and then he could sign with whatever team he wants. Now, would Russell Wilson do that? I'm not sure. He doesn't, have the status and equity in the league that he once did, so maybe he would just play ball and be willing to do whatever. But you got to feel now that he's healthy, he's going to itch to play, and if Justin and the Steelers keep playing well, which they've dropped 2 in a row, but for the most part he's at least played better than he did in Chicago, then that's going to put Mike Tomlin in a really precarious position over the next week or two. Now, Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, he believes Justin Fields is going to go to the bench this week and that Russell Wilson will start against the Raiders, which I got to be honest, this doesn't make any sense. Why is Fields getting all the starting reps then? Is Tomlin going to give Fields the reps and then turn to Russell Wilson on Sunday? That doesn't make any sense. This is a guy who has not gotten through a week of practice really at all because he was hurt early on in training camp, got back and healthy, then got hurt again, and the same has been true during the regular season. So I just don't get this notion that he would start this week. Now, if he has a fully healthy week of practice and if Justin is struggling against a bad Raiders team, could they turn to Russ mid-game or turn to him next week? That is certainly a possibility, but I think we're still very much in the unknown stage of what this situation looks like. I think Justin has earned another start with how he's played. He's taken care of the football. He's not great by any means, but having watched him in Chicago and watching him now in Pittsburgh, he does look a little bit better in Pittsburgh. He's taking care of the ball for the most part, which was a problem with the Bears. And I've said it all along. What has Russell Wilson done in the last 3 seasons that would just say, yeah, we'll just turn it to you? He's kind of a headache to deal with, and he's not that good anymore. Now, I get it. If Justin really struggles, sure, try Russell Wilson. But if he goes out there and wins another game and they're 4-2, they're probably just going to roll with him for a while. So my take here is, barring a disaster against the Raiders, I would stick with Justin Fields. And if you think Russell Wilson becomes a distraction at that point, once he's fully healthy, then maybe you try to cut or trade him because you've got Kyle Allen. He could be the backup for the rest of the season. That's perfectly fine. Russell Wilson's kind of in that category of, do you want him in the building as a backup? Is that worth the distraction? They've been able to kind of get away with it because he hasn't been 100%. Well, now it sounds like he is, and he wants to play. He talks like he's the starter, and Mike Tomlin hasn't done a great job, at least publicly, in terms of saying who the starter actually is. They just keep rolling with Justin. Eventually, you're going to have to make it clear within that locker room. And if Mike Tomlin sits Russ down and says, hey, you're the backup, not sure how he's going to take that. So wouldn't shock me if he got cut or traded. I don't think he's going to start this week. Big game for Justin Fields to kind of solidify himself as the starter after not playing that well against Dallas. Does Russ have trade value? That's the last part of this. If he were willing to waive his no trade clause, would a team call? Would a team like the Raiders, who they're playing this week, be interested? Would the Dolphins, if Tua has a setback in his concussion recovery, is there another team out there? Maybe between now and the trade deadline, a contender loses their starter. Even if that happens, I mean, we're talking a 6th-round pick, maybe 7th. Even at the vet minimum, Russ has not been a good player for a long time. So I'm not sure he would have value, which, again, leading back to Graziano's point, you would maybe just have to cut him if he didn't want to stick around as the backup. So we'll see what happens. You guys let me know in the comments. Do you think Justin Fields or Russell Wilson ends up being the starter moving forward, whether it's this week or next? Give us your thoughts down below. JF for Justin Fields, RW for Russell Wilson. All right, let's get to a few other storylines, more rapid fire here. Spencer Rattler going to get the start for New Orleans this week as Derek Carr is set to miss multiple games with an oblique injury. Jake Haener came on in relief last week against the Chiefs, played a drive or two, didn't look that good. They drafted Rattler in the 5th round. He's obviously got some talent, and I'm eager to see how he plays. Obviously had a roller coaster college career. At one point, people were saying he's going to be the number 1 pick. Then Caleb Williams takes over at Oklahoma. He has to transfer to South Carolina, where he was very up and down. His good looked good. His bad looked bad. That's kind of what up and down means. So he gets an opportunity to start at least this week. We'll see where it goes from there. Dennis Allen did say Derek Carr will start once he's healthy. Let's say he misses 2 games and Rattler plays really well and wins both. Would you go back to Carr? I think they would, but I'm not sure I would if I was in charge. Long way from that, but a great opportunity for Spencer Rattler. A couple wide receiver injuries, then we'll get out of here. Nico Collins, it's a big deal, going to IR with a hamstring injury. Ian Rappaport said he should be back sooner rather than later, but remember, short-term IR means you miss at least 4 games. So he's out for at least a month. That's a big blow to the Texans' offense. He's leading the NFL in receiving right now, so that's obviously not ideal. Now they've got Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, and some other pieces, so they should be okay as long as he's back, for the second half of the season and a potential playoff push. But hamstrings can be tricky, so we'll keep an eye on that. And then Michael Pittman as well has not been placed on IR, but could. He's a candidate for that. He's dealing with the back injury, also not ideal for any player, much less a wide receiver. So he is also set to miss some time and could be placed on IR, which means he would miss at least 4 games. So there you have it. NFL news, some rumors, the Russell Wilson situation heating up in Pittsburgh, and Mike Tomlin's going to have to make a permanent decision, you would think, sooner rather than later. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're chasing 4,000 subs. We appreciate your love and support from everyone who has subscribed already. If you have, by the way, turn on the notification bell, select all. That means you will get notified exactly when we publish every single video and if and when we ever do live content, which I would love to do. Need more subscribers to do it. So come show some support. My name is Harrison Graham. We will see you guys tomorrow with another episode of 4 Verts.